hello to you. Here I am in my craft room. You say craft room? Yeah, I've got a lot of crafts I do. So there's my bookshelves and the cupboard that has all my sewing machines and, all my fabric kind of stuff and all kinds of things. I'm getting ready to do some silk painting. And I'll probably record that for you too. I'm going to see if I can translate that particular picture onto this piece of silk. All right, and so I'll probably record that for you. But today I'm looking at potatoes. And it is February the 9th, 2017. And I want to plant potatoes. Now, last year I planted them in a big garbage bag, but I planted them too late. I planted them like in May and went through June, and the heat of the summer and a number of other things, the potatoes didn't do well. So a couple things I'm going to do. So I want to plant them in March, so next month. So I need to get to potatoes. Now these potatoes have been in my cupboard, like, my pantry all winter, and then I put them in this basket on my windowsill because I wanted to see. Well, these, now these are funny. I got these on the 99-cent shelf at Kroger's, right? And I've had them in my pantry for a while. And I just, in their plastic bag, and I just pulled them out last night. And they are what they call them chitting, C-H-I-T-T-I-N-G, chitting nicely. So I'm going to have these. Don't ask me what kind of potatoes these are. They're white, kind of white potatoes. I don't think they're Yukon Golds or anything. And these are russets. And I've been kind of reading, and they've been telling me that russets may not do well here in my Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, but I'm going to try them. So that's some of those. And then buried down underneath here, I picked up some red potatoes at the grocery store. And, they tell you that they coat them with something to stop them from doing the seedling kind of thing. So I've got those. So I got and kind of shriveled up potatoes. And so I've got quite a few potatoes here. Here's some more red potato, right? Now the potato that I planted a potato in a 5-gallon bucket in the fall and brought it in the house, and yep, it died, but it's okay. But what I'm going to do soon, I'm going to cut these up and get them ready to have them separated, with their, into different sections and let them dry up. Another gardener that I saw last year, he tried something different. So I made mashed potatoes last night on some potatoes that we're starting to do. So he said, just take the skin, and he planted it like this, not the big chunk of potato. So I got to use my potatoes. So there. So I'm going to plant these too. I'll let them dry a little bit, which is what I'm going to let the other ones do. So that's what I'm going to do with the potatoes. And you say, well, what do you do? Well, you kind of cut them up. So you cut them so that you've got, one or two eyes. Well, this one eye is huge. So I'll cut this one. I'll have this one on another piece of potato. And look at this little tiny one here and this little tiny one here. They all can be planted. So I'll have lots of potatoes to plant. I'm just going to have to remember to say all my reds is in one section and all of my these white type potatoes are in another section. And I stopped at Callaway's today and got Yukon Gold seed potatoes. Now, I had looked online for seed potatoes, and let me tell you, I got 5 potatoes. They're over on the other side right now. But I got 5 potatoes, possibly about this size. You know, small. They're not very big. Maybe closer to this size. Small ones, 5 of them. They were $7.99. You know, that's you know, that's over $1 each for a seed potato. And you get all this advice online about, you know, not using the potatoes you get in the store and use seed potatoes. Well, guess what? I've got these potatoes giving me chits, right? I am going to use my potatoes, and I'm going to do those Yukon Golds, because I don't think these are Yukon Golds. I don't know what they are. I think they're regular old white potatoes, but when I got them, they were green on the outer skin, so you don't want to eat them. So they had been exposed to light, and my main thing was to see if they would chit, and they have, and I'll make sure that they don't get exposed to light, because that's what happens when your potatoes are in the ground and growing, and they get sunlight hits the potatoes, they get green. And if I remember correctly, the green is more like arsenic or something like that, but it'll make you sick if you eat that part. So whenever you get a potato and it has that kind of green on it, make sure you cut it off before you eat it. So I've got lots of potatoes, starters, so we will see. I will do add to this video when I start to plant. I'll show you where I do it. And I'm thinking about doing the Ruth Stout method, which is you kind of put the potatoes on top of the ground, and then you cover them with straw. Well, I've got straw, and I've got hay, and I've got leaves, so I've got all kinds of things I can mulch with. But I think I'm going to dig down probably about an inch or so in the soil and plant them. And where I'm going to plant them is where I had sweet potatoes in the ground last year. And I may take 1 5-gallon bucket and plant potatoes in them. So just stay tuned. A few days ago, I sliced up the potatoes that I'd been holding on to all winter, and they have their eyes all on them, and so I sliced them up and let them sit. Now here's something I noticed. Here's the red potatoes, and look at how they turned. Well, this is an indication that there's a lot of sugar in the red potatoes, because they had the tendency not just to scab over, but they heavily started getting some mold on them. So I'm going to cut them again so to get rid of the mold. But the same thing with, look at these white potatoes, and they got white stuff on them, kind of indicating the amount of sugar. And here's my other white potatoes, russets, and they don't have that same look. Now they've all been cut the same day, and look at the amount. That basically tells me how much sugar is in them. So that's another thing that I'm paying attention to these days, about the amount, what kind of carbohydrate is this and how much sugar it is, because I'm watching my diet to keep from acquiring insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes. It runs in my family. But I also know that, with gardening like this and planting plants and eating kale and collards and all of those good things also is very good for me. So just wanted to show you these potatoes. These are the ones that are going to go in the ground today. And so this is what they look like after I cut them, but I'm going to take off some of that black stuff before I plant them in the ground. All right.